Well, I'll tell you what, I'm happy and I'm mad. I got the 2-inch spacers put inside there and they work perfect, just like I was hoping they would. Okay, however, I lowered the car down fast and the actual shock snapped in half. I am so mad. This name brand shock too, it's supposed to be good shocks. Good for an SUV. And it still freaking snapped right in half. Well, this one did on the passenger side. Let me flip it around. Can't believe that. Lowered the car down fast, it just bent itself forward and snapped right in half. Unfreaking believable. Howdy y'all, back out here in the shop. I'm gonna give you some little updates, things I figured out, what will work, what won't work, what I had to order, you know, just same old. I got the water pump fully on, and I do have a little warp to it. Later on it'll get replaced, but for now, good enough. The crank pulley, however, won't work because it's way too big. This is an 8-inch pulley and it hits the water pump. You can't even come close to bolting it on, it just smacks the water pump. So I had to order a new pulley for it. I ordered a 5 1/4-inch pulley. So that's coming in. And then I'll be able to set up the radiator and get a radiator put in here. And in fact, I think I'm gonna mess around with that right now just to see where I could sit it and have it bolted and whatnot. All right, I think getting that radiator figured out was a lot easier than I thought it was gonna be. Sits right down in there tight behind this foot so it can't come forward. And I made this little bracket right here nice and tight on here. Bolted it straight through here with a metal screw. And it should work. It really should. Just gotta figure out how to run these hoses, that's the only problem. Because I gotta go clear down over here with this one here. So it's gotta wrap around and come down over here. And this one here is fairly easy. It just comes up, will come this way, come down, and then come back up to here. I'll probably have to wrap it to keep it away from the heat. You know, in the future, electric water pump for sure. Same with power steering, getting an electric power steering unit that attaches to the thing inside there. To the actual steering column. But we are coming along, guys. We're getting there. That is really cool. And that was a brand new radiator too. It was only inside of my Jeep for a little while. It came out of a Jeep Cherokee 96. I believe that was the one that came out of it. And I should have a radiator cap too sitting inside the drawer in there, so it won't be a problem. I will have to run an overflow because I don't want water on the track, making the tires slip, especially at over 100 miles an hour. It is coming along, guys. Oh, and I got my little fuse box all right up here, ready to go. I got to figure out exactly where I'm going to mount it. Which I'm not sure yet if I'm mounting it on the back firewall or if I'm going to mount it to the steel bar right here. It's on the roll cage. Probably won't mount it there. Probably mount it on the firewall most likely. And everything will be ran to a fuse except for the starter. Fuel pump I'll put on a 30 amp, and the headlights and all the lights, it'll be on one switch. Those will go on a 30 amp. Yeah, I just got to get it all figured out. I'll get there. don't have a whole lot of time left. It's already March, and test and tune is next month in April, but I'm not gonna make the April one. It's gonna have to be the May, is when I'll be able to hopefully have this done in 2 months and down to the track. That's the plan. So fingers crossed, man. I want to get this out to the track really bad. All right, that's it for right now. All right, fellas, I brought in a pile of hoses out of the scrap yard for radiators and heater hoses, and see what I can do with some of these, and if I can come up with something to get on here and to connect to the radiator. All right, I got a temporary top hose ran, and now I got to try to figure out the bottom hose, because it's got to go from over here on this side to down there. So that's what I'm up to now. All right, fellas, I actually got the radiator hooked up. It's just temporary, okay? It's pieces that I had laying around out in the junkyard and in the shop, and I just put stuff together to make it work temporary until I can get, until I have the money to get the hoses that I actually need. Here, I'll flip this around and show you. All right, I already showed you the top hose. And then there's the bottom hose. This side is got a little twist to it. That's just a wire. So ignore that wire sitting over the top of it. Goes to the lights. I haven't hooked up yet. And I found this piece as I self-tapped it down through there and got it all connected and ran up here. Everything's all tightened down, and haven't checked to see if it holds water yet, but that'll be next on my list. All right, I did the heater core lines as well. Since I don't have a heater core, I had to plug them off. And just remember, this is really just temporary till I get an electric water pump for this. But I had to have some way to plug them off, so I did. It looks like it's horrible, but it's effective. It does the job. I got the one heater core line ran right from the intake down to the water pump, but it's kind of pinched off, which doesn't matter because I don't want it circulating anyways. And then I siliconed a large bolt, shoved it inside this heater core hose, and screwed it down on both sides. So it's officially plugged off completely. So I don't have to worry about the heater core lines as long as they don't leak, and as long as the radiator lines don't leak with this hacked up job. But it's all temporary until I get the money to replace them, put actual good hoses on it. But at least that part is done. So now I'm just waiting on the what the heck is it, the harmonic balancer pulley that I ordered. It says it was shipped out today, so it should get here by the end of this week, maybe the beginning of next. But as soon as I get that on there, I will show you. And then I'm going to start some wiring. I'm going to start trying to hook up some lights and get the pieces put back on the back of this car active, and get the fins washers back in the right spot where they belong, and make sure that's all adjusted correctly. Get this light bar put back in and start running wires to my fuse box, right, sitting right there on top of the car, and get that mounted. And oh yeah, I got a master cylinder sort of mounted, and I got it hooked to the brake pedal, and it works. See, I didn't have the room to put this master cylinder, the original stock one, back in here because it hits the valve covers. So I just got 2 nuts in and 2 bolts in so far. The 2 that are on this side are both in and bolted down tight. These 2 are just touching right here. And so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna clean them up with a little bit of sanding paper and weld them right there. And I had to take the brake pedal I don't know if you'll be able to see it or not. And it has a little stud on it that the brake, the master cylinder, yeah, right there. It wasn't long enough since the master cylinder is in here at an angle. It wasn't long enough. So I cut the end of a bolt off and I welded it on there, took a nut, put some silicone all on the inside of the nut, and threaded it up to it so the nut wouldn't fall off. I used silicone as Loctite. And so the brake pedal works. And now I just got to get the lines hooked up underneath the car for that. Yeah, I'm kind of at a bad angle. I'm gonna shut this phone off to get out of here. Oh, hold on. Sorry. All right, here we go. Anyways, it's coming together, so keep working on things, keep trying to kick stuff out, and I'll keep recording videos as I'm doing it. So that's all I got for now, guys. All right, fellas, I got a little bit of wiring done on it. I got the alternator completely hooked up. I'll go ahead and show you here. Also, I got the fuse box hooked up, if I can show you. Oh yeah, I ran this ground with the self-tapper right in the exhaust. Doesn't really need it because I checked it and it was already grounded. But this is my main, this is my ignition wire. I don't know if you can even see this, but this is the ignition wire. This one goes to 12-volt power on. This is the main feed wire right here. And it goes right here, straight to the battery. And this wire right here feeds my fuse box, which is what I'm going to show you right now. Show you how I did this. Okay, right there's the fuse box, and that's that main wire coming right out the battery to the positive side. Then I grounded this one right here to here, and so I got my, these are all extra grounds, and these are positives that you hook, throw a fuse through. So that's all hooked up, and this right here goes to the alternator. I got, oh crud, I put this on the wrong side. I'll have to change that wire around. Oh, I still got power going to it. That's the power to the alternator for the, like the ignition switch type deal. This is the power to the coil, or no, fuel pump, I'm sorry, which I still have to run this through a fuse as well. And this is the coil right here, which gives it ignition. And I still got to run a fuse for that one too. So those will be coming over here as well and running through this. And I plan on, I'm just using 30 amp fuses for everything as the plan, so. Also the headlights are gonna be running through this, so. Be a little difficult getting a positive up there to those top ones, but it'll be done. I'll just have to like bend it outward so it doesn't touch anything when I hook up the eyelets out there. But I'm kind of running low on eyelets, so I gotta go order some. And so I got the alternator completely hooked up. I got the water pump completely hooked up. The ignition fuel pump has been hooked up, you know that, because I've been running it. I still have to do the lights. I plan on running all the lights together. The headlights, the tail lights, parking lights, all that together as one switch. So when I this on, this will be the lights. All the lights, it'll be the headlights and the parking lights. It won't be brake lights or turn signals yet. That's gonna be a little bit more in depth for me to run. But I've got the wires at least ran for the alternator now, so that when I get the crank pulley in, I can go ahead and throw a belt on it and test the alternator and make sure it's putting out voltage and charging. If it is, then I'll be putting a smaller battery in this car. because this battery right here is just too big. And so I've been doing that little black battery on that charger, and you can see the lights right there on. It's fully charged and holding a charge. That green light right here means that it's holding a charge and it's fully charged. I've been doing that every day, coming out here, flipping it on and putting it on there. Besides that great big battery that came out of the motorhome, that's the only other one right now that's holding a charge. And that side post is good over there too, but I don't have side post terminals, so I can't use it. The rest of these need new acid. I've already boiled them with the welder, and all the cells were good. Just the acid is so dirty and nasty and probably watered down. So I just got to get a container of acid for the rest of these batteries, I think, and they'll be fine. They'll be good batteries. That's all I'm doing for tonight. About to head into the house, and until I figure out a belt and a crank pulley coming in the mail. Well, the belt's not coming in the mail, but the crank pulley is. Until I get that on there and bolt it up and get a belt onto it, I won't be putting any water in the radiator, because I want to make sure that the water pump's actually good. I mean, worst case scenario, if I absolutely had to, which I do not want to do, is pull that timing cover off completely and put the other timing cover on, the original one that was on this engine and the original water pump, and then I wouldn't have the problem with like the water pump hitting the crank pulley and stuff, and I could use the original crank pulley even. But can't do that with this timing cover in this water pump. And then I would have to reroute all the plumbing for the water pump again. I don't want to deal with that. So best thing to do right now, I'm thinking, is exactly what I'm doing, nothing. So leave it alone. About to fire this up for a few minutes, let it warm up again, then I'll shut it off, and then I'm gonna head in the house. So I'll go ahead and get this video uploaded to you, and so at least you got something from me.